Good morning. It is June 8th, 2023. This is what we're seeing here in the market, and this is what I put in the group chat today. So we took out the higher time frame low that's down here. Also, as you can tell right here in this picture, took out the higher time frame low. Now I'm looking for possible retracement into this 50% of the range or the short-term high, as we are reaching up into that in the area actually right now over here. So now I just want to see what price wants to do. So we took the low here, bullish SMT at the lows. So we are at the higher time frame, liquidity was taken, as well as a PD array within this wick and also this up close candle. At the same time, we are in these rejection blocks on NASDAQ. So those higher time frame PD arrays are hit. Now how do we get in sync with institutional order flow to get to our objective? Okay, what are we seeing in price? Price trades up on in, shift to market structure, all right, trades back down into the range, below the 830 and taps the midnight open and then starts to trade away. Okay, we are watching these areas to see if they want to support price or not. Okay, so now we have bullish SMT in the 1 minute. Notice how we're making a lower low here, a higher low here. Market opens, we start to trade up higher into the higher part of this range. We have all these relative equal highs up here. We have the 5 minute and 15-minute inversion gap. So this gap right here is a 5-minute inversion, okay? And the 15-minute is this 15-minute inversion. So those could act as support and resistance if price gets up in or above those areas. So we just want to see what price wants to do. Now notice how we're taking another low here, hitting the high of this breaker on NASDAQ as we're up higher here on ES. So now we want to see, how do these candles close? Do they close up into the 5-minute inversion? How do they close here as well? Okay, at the same time we're in this breaker, but we also took the high here. So now there's bearish SMT. So it's like, what do you do? How do you know which one you want to go with? Close out your charts, well, clear off the charts, and look at a higher time frame. What's the narrative? What's the narrative it's telling us? Okay, what is the highest confirmation right now? I think it can go either way, but I think it's higher confirmation that we do want to work our way higher up into here. Boom. NASDAQ reaching up into the 50% of that range, as you can tell. ES staying stagnant. So trade down into this area, barely took out this low here. All right, shifted up on in. We used this breaker as a potential catalyst to send price up higher in the higher part of the range. Just watching price. Notice how we got these relative equal highs here. Trade up on in here. Bearish SMT. Trades down below the short-term low here on ES. So now we're down below this short-term low. 15-minute time frame trading down. We have these relative equal lows that could possibly be hit, but still observing what price wants to do. We have midnight open traded down, up on in, takes out this high, accumulates up in here. Rejects, obviously cannot hold up above this inversion. Obvious. 5 minute, close up above, but doesn't mean it's ready to go. Just didn't like that after we took that high. Comes down, trades up on in here. Same time NASDAQ hit the breaker. Hits this short-term high. Okay, we hit the short-term high in the 50% of the 4-hour range. So depending on how this next 4-hour candle closes in the next 4 minutes, this could actually be a bearish sign if we don't close up on close to this area, if it just trades right back down. Just gonna watch, because it could still go back up on the next 4-hour candle. I want to see how this inversion gap starts to react off of, if it wants to come up and close bullish on the inversion, or if it wants to reject it and continue lower. Because since we took out this low here, 1-hour time frame, wick, 4-hour time frame, wick. This could just be creating a support, but taking out the 4-hour liquidity from here, right before the new 4-hour candle opens here within the next about 3 minutes from now, a little more than that. So taking that out right before the new 4-hour candle opens. So maybe it takes a low. Next candle opens up within this range, somewhere within here, and it wicks down on in. Just a little bit into this wick. Doesn't need to go far, but then we get a nice gravitation higher, just up into here, and it just stalls out here the rest of the day. There's no wick on this candle too, because that could possibly be a draw on liquidity. So now I'm looking at how we just had that nice closure right there. Okay, notice that 1 minute closure. That 1 minute closure could be a catalyst for price to wick down and in, and then continue up higher in that range. So maybe within the next 3 minutes or so, let's give it next 10 minutes, actually. Because we'll get that new 4-hour open, and then we should possibly expect some wick down into the wick. So this move up here in the 1 minute is creating that 4-hour wick here. So we could possibly see a wick back down and into here. Maybe a fair value gap or something. We see all of this starting to form. So price trades down within this area. We're creating bullish SMT in the higher time frames. Shift to market structure, retesting in this fair value gap that we have here. We close back up above this inversion. Okay. Tapped in and we started rejecting. We're closing higher now. I want to see what price action wants to do in this area. Does it want to go higher or does it want to come back down and into this range to give us potential long confirmations? We have a nice 5-minute candle closure here. Trades down in the next candle. 15-minute trades down in the next candle. 1 hour trades down in the next candle. 4-hour trades down in the next candle into the rejection block right here. Now we could possibly look for expansion. We have relative equal highs here, as well as bullish order flow. So liquidity, higher time frame PD array, okay, sync with order flow. This is sync with order flow. That's what I'm talking about. This is getting in sync with order flow. All right, now we just focus on these order blocks. Order block, inversion. I'd want to see price close up above this fair value gap to create an inversion. If we get a candle closure up above this fair value gap, we could possibly see more expansion. That'd be more confirmation for price to get up there. I'm watching NASDAQ on the screen too, because I'm looking at this low here on NASDAQ. This 2-minute low. If we tap this low and we stay bullish up in here and just use these rejection blocks, that could be another confirmation. Notice how we just took that low there. Hit the low with a new week opening gap. That could be confirmation for price to want to move higher as well. So now we're breaking up above into this area, up into here. We're hitting the low of this inversion here on the 15-minute. So we want to see it break up and through this inversion. Same with the 5-minute. Just gotta be patient here. But we're watching this inversion here. So if we get a closure above this inversion, we should see more expansion. So let's just watch. Okay, we got a closure above the inversion, as well as this candle's looking very juicy and beefy here on NASDAQ. So NASDAQ should look to expand higher as well. So this is just a lot of confirmations that price wants to continue bullish up into the higher part of the range. So based on what we're seeing, we shouldn't necessarily see price come too far back down. Okay, there we go. We're getting our expansion up on in. To the higher part of the range. So let's adjust our risk occasionally. So we have these relative equal highs as targets. Just about 2%. Just watching price action, observing it. Just notice everything that I outlined within here. Traded down on in, started rejecting. Watching this inversion. Using this high of the breaker, as well as the retest here, as well as the bullish SMT at these 1-minute wicks. That gave it away for me. That bullish SMT gave it away, telling me price wants to continue higher. So I'm looking to see if it offers support to go higher. So now that we traded back down into this range, we started closing bullish up here on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, and once we start closing bullish in the 5-minute time frame and also this 15-minute time frame, we can allow this 15-minute now to possibly trade down lower into these highs here to see if these will act as a breaker to continue higher into this high up here, and even 50% of the range that we've been talking about. That is a little bit higher from here. So I'm watching to see if price wants to get up into the 50% of this breaker. I mean 50% of this range, and also this high up in here. So that's why I just set these alerts. So I'm looking at price action. 5-minute time frame, indecisive candle. We poke the high one more time. We close back on in on NASDAQ. Okay. We trade down. And notice, like I said, this inversion on the 15-minute and also the 5-minute. 5-minute inversion here, 15-minute inversion there. We close bullish up above it. Now we want to see if these breakers paired with the inversion acts as a support for price to continue higher up into those areas that we're looking at. So now we come down. We have this candle here, this down close candle, draw it out, acts as a support as well as the inversion as support, trades up on through, as well as this area here. This breaker's playing out here on NASDAQ. So I'm going to go over here to the 1-minute time frame. Notice how we break up on in, we come back down, and we consolidate on these areas. So this is an area where you really want to pay attention to. What are we seeing? Allow the retracement. Don't get fed up with, oh, is it going to go against me? Is it going to reverse? It doesn't matter. We're going to focus on taking our partials and watching how price is respecting areas while protecting our position by trailing the stop loss above areas that should not be broken, which would be this one right within here, the opening range, closing price, as well as this low paired with the inversion gap. Now we come up higher, trade down. We got this fair value gap here where we are reacting off of, as well as this down close candle. This 2-minute time frame, this down close candle right here, acting as a support for price to move higher. Same with here. Trades down on in, comes back up on through. Does this close exactly? This could be a 2-minute immediate rebalance if it closes exactly on it. Yeah, it taps exactly on it. So immediate rebalance here on the 2-minute, but it rebalances here as well to then continue up higher into the higher part of the range. So watching how price action is doing this, we are expecting price to reach up towards that draw here and even a little bit higher up to the 50%, possibly in that range. So just watching these areas, however they're reacting. We can even measure it again from here to here. This stop range here, let's actually measure from here to here. The -1 would be right up above that area as well, getting up into there. So now let's just watch how price is playing out in this area. Notice how it's just trading right back down after taking this high. This is not something I really want to take positions in up here. I'm not taking any positions. I'm managing my position up here, but I'm noticing this 5-minute inversion as well. Not inversion, volume imbalance. See if it wants to react price off of here to continue higher as well, up in the higher part of the range. So really, I would not want to see this low here broken if we're going to keep seeing continuation up on through towards that -1 here and the new week opening gaps that lie up within there. So closing out this fib extension, I think we should be good to watch price action here. 5-minute time frame. Let's go on in. Trades down on in here, trades down in here. I'm going to go over to YM, my other screen. YM trades down on through, creating bullish SMT. 5-minute wicks. Looking here to see if price wants to continue. 15-minute candle right here. Let's see how this next 15-minute candle opens. I would possibly, in the next 2 minutes, see this close within this range, and then trade down and into this wick a little bit, maybe hit these highs or the highs of these breakers one more time, specifically this breaker here and also these wicks. Trades down and in. I wouldn't necessarily want to see this low hit. I'd want to see this act as a breakaway gap. So 42.75.25. And I'm actually going to put a line on that real quick. 41. Yep, that'd be that low right there. I would want to see that act as a breakaway gap. So anything below that, I would not want to see tapped down into. I'd want to see that act as a form of support for price to continue higher. So trailing stops up to that area as well is just another confirmation for price to keep moving up in that area. So now what are we seeing? Look at the down close candle here on NASDAQ. Okay, watching this down close candle here to see how this plays out. 2-minute time frame, same thing. Relative equal highs here, we could possibly just see some expansion. All right. Boom, 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 boom. How's this looking? Look at these relative equal highs from this wick here. So that high there, creating a stop right before that. So gun to my head, I would say we'd hit this high, and then up into here. So just looking at that area, looking at this down close candle, acting as a form of support. We're about to get our closure here very soon. We could hit that before or even after, doesn't really matter. But I wanted to see some expansion up on through. 5 minute looks very bullish if we do close like this. I want to see how we form. Do we trade down and into this fair value gap and then trade higher? Or do we not do that? So, okay, we don't do that. Just pokes up on in through. So now we could possibly see some selling off in the lower part of this range. We can even come back down through it, back down below. Or, even better, to see some, yep, I was going to say, see some expansion right on up through. Right up on through. So our higher time frame targets were met right there. So now we just want to keep seeing some possible expansion if price wants to keep going in this range. So just managing my positions. But that's gonna wrap it up. So anyways, just to do another morning review, this is what happened today. We price traded down below. So after we traded down below into this area, down below these lows, I'm looking for higher expansion up into this high and half of the range. So half the range would be a little bit higher. We could reach up into there, but it does not need to. Just like ICT always says, you have a target. That's what you're going for. It does not need to be met. Pay yourself as it makes money available to you. So that's what I did. This does not need to be met to make me profitable because already locked in a good amount. But anyways, price trades up on in, comes back down into this range, just really being patient, waiting to see. We have SMT divergence on these indices, and then we start to break higher. All right, once we start to break higher with some bullish closures, we use inversions and fair value gaps, as well as draws and liquidity to get in sync with order flow towards that draw. Okay, the draw is up here. Looking at this area, up here and up here. That's my draw. All right, so now what's order flow telling me after liquidity got hit and after the PD array got hit? So it's telling me it's coming up into here, coming down into this fair value gap to reject this area. We close up above this inversion and volume imbalance. A lot of PD arrays that need to be broken if price is going to continue down. So we come in here, we respect this area. I like this for potential entry. Trades up on in, another bullish closures. I like this after a bullish closure above here. Does not need to retest. After that close there, I'm like, okay, we should see some expansion. Expansion up above this 15-minute and 5-minute inversion, and then the next candle completely shreds through all these highs up to here to where TP1 is. Then we get an accumulation. What happens here? Does it want to come down? Does it want to go higher? Price should not come back down below this low here. So it consolidates, rips on up, comes down, consolidates one more time, wicks down on in, and then starts to trade back up higher into the higher part of this range. So noticing how price is respecting these areas. Notice the 5-minute volume imbalance as well, where it trades down on into here. But look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ never traded down on in. NASDAQ created bullish SMT with these wicks to come hit this high, and we're just sitting in the NWOG, and now we're just sitting up here in this high. We took the high, now we're rejecting. As expected, after high and liquidity is taken, we can expect price to do something like that. So I want to see, actually, with this range marked up, did we hit the -1? Yes, we did to the dot. Okay, this is a screenshot from the notebook. All right, -1 from this stop range here, the bodies, the 5-minute candles, right here. I'm screenshotting this and putting this in my notebook for future note reference because this is a pretty clean chart, pretty clean setup, but it really just comes with experience and seeing it over and over and over again. So very clean to me, but I'm going to wrap this up here for the day, but take it easy, guys. Love y'all. Peace out.